Okay, so you've been an athlete basically your whole life, and I would love to hear if you've ever struggled with mental health and what that might have looked like for you.
Yeah, I think probably one of my biggest struggles with mental health was season of 2020, kind of after everything got shut down with COVID. Like that was my senior year. Um, like the 3 years prior, like we came in fourth, third, second. So I put a lot of pressure on myself, and I know like the people in my class also put a lot of pressure on us as leaders and whatnot. So for our season to get canceled and not feel like it was taken away, for me, just like trying to grasp it all was really difficult and figure out like, oh, how do I deal with something that I had no control over? Like I had no say in this being canceled. It wasn't like a direct injury to me that like took me out of the game in a way.
Hmm.
So I think for me, like the hardest part with that was kind of when the NCAA released that we got another season. It wasn't that I wasn't going to go, but it was hard for me to like mentally commit myself and not know because of the state of the world, like whether or not that season was going to be taken away again.
Right.
So for me, that was like one of the hardest struggles that I went through. And like at the time, like everybody's all over the place and everybody's going through different situations. And um, I think I just really struggled with like I wanted it so bad, but I was so scared to have that feeling again that it was like a back and forth type thing.
Right.
Um, so that's like that was one of my like biggest struggles while competing or like while currently on the team. But I think like my second biggest struggles have come actually after graduating because I graduated in May 2021, so
Hmm.
last May. And since then, I think like you go from having your life structured every single second. Like you wake up, you go to practice, you go to class, you go back to practice, you go to sleep, wake up, repeat. And you don't really have to think about your schedule or what you're doing. Like it's kind of just there and you just do it.
Hmm.
Um, and so once like NCAA's is over and you sign all your exit papers, you're like, holy shit, like that, like, who am I? What am I doing? And that
Right.
even was like a weird summer too. I was just like, I know I'm supposed to be training. Like I feel like I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't actually have to do anything. And then just kind of like navigating that whole thing, like you're surrounded by a group of people every single day with like similar goals and similar actions, and you don't really have to like, not in a way like think, but like you just like, for me, I felt like at home and like this is what I wanted to do and we're all going there together.
Mhm.
So this past year has been really difficult in that way, like not having structure and not feeling like I have a goal or like similar people in mind.
Right.
I think that's what I'm currently struggling with and what I have been struggling with, in terms of like mental health.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for opening up about that. Do you feel like, so you guys won nationals in 2021, right? Your
Correct.
last year. So
Yeah.
that's obviously a pretty big high, like what you guys have been working towards forever. Do you feel like there was kind of a low after that?
A low.
Like sometimes when people like win the Olympics, etc., like you work your whole life or a lot of years towards that, and then after it's kind of like, well, we did it, but now what?
Right.
Like, did you feel that at all?
I definitely did. And I think like the hardest part for me was to like reaching that goal that we had been working for so long, and like not wanting it to end. Like if I could have took a 6 year, I would have took a 6 year.
Right.
So I think like that was really hard too. And then it's like, what was all that? Not like what was it all for, but once it ends and like you don't wear burnt orange every single day or whatever your school color is, you have like this identity crisis. Like I think that's kind of what I had, is just like I can walk through the streets and nobody has no idea that I just won a national championship.
Right.
Um, so yeah, like I definitely, like there was definitely a huge low moment. Like of course it's such a high when you do it, but I think afterwards when you kind of realize like that was it and it's over, kind of
Right.
sucks.
Yeah.
And then it's hard too because people are like, oh, you should be proud, like you won. And I'm like, it's not that I'm not proud that I won, but like, and not that I want that to be like my greatest achievement or highest accomplishment, but like part of me feels like it just ended and that's it. And like you just kind of you're tossed away.
So sad, kind of. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So last question. Do you think that colleges need to do more to support student athletes and like their mental side of things, like whether in school or maybe after graduation somehow?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I've been talking about that a lot recently,
Mm-hmm.
uh, with a lot of teammates who are still on the team and who are not on the team anymore.
Yeah.
And just like other athletes and other rowers. I definitely think like while you're in it, I think that there should be not like more pressure on like being like talking to somebody and like making sure that you're okay, but I think there should be like a little bit more of an acceptance for that. And I think sports are getting there, which is cool. And that's good to see. Like my senior year or my super senior year, 2021, our team or a group of our team actually started talking with an art therapist, like
Oh,
group
okay.
therapy, which was pretty cool. And it was cool that our coach started it. You know, like it wasn't like us going to him. He was like, we're going to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like if I were to tell him one thing, I think like, oh, the whole team should do it. You know, like even if it's in little groups, like I think it benefited us a lot, especially like that year coming off of COVID and like all the different struggles that people went through at home or wherever they were. And then even like the struggles within the team that year, because there's a ton, you know, like there were so many different situations that we were kind of thrown against or into during it. And I think like ultimately it made us a lot closer too. Um, in terms of like after college, I definitely think that colleges don't support you. I don't want to say in any way at all, but it does feel like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I don't mean to like bash anybody or anything, but it's hard because like they'll always say like, oh, Texas forever, like Longhorn legend, like once a Longhorn, always a Longhorn type deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the hardest things is like, or for me, like I haven't felt that. Like I haven't felt like, oh, Longhorn for life or Texas forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of more felt like once I was out, they kind of take the jersey back, you know.
Right.
So I think that there needs to be a little bit more awareness on like, oh, we're not just like a part of a machine and once we're done you just throw us away, you know. I think there should be a little bit more of a system where it's like that prepares you for after sports or after college.
Definitely.
And I was talking to actually one of our coaches about it a little bit a few months ago, like a mentorship program. Like I think when you graduate as an athlete, you should be paired with a former athlete who's graduated like 4 or 5 years ago or whatnot, and who can kind of like mentor you a little bit and help you navigate the situation. Because one, it's hard, and like everybody deals with it differently. So I do think that there needs to be more attention there.
Yeah, I love that idea actually.
Yeah, it's actually something that like I'm kind of working on or like trying to do, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely should.
Yeah.